With the introduction of the new US President Donald Trump, there are many changes which are set to be made. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. One of the most important things that is to be discussed is government spending. And certainly with Donald Trump suggesting that there would be cuts to the government, it remains to be seen exactly how far that will go. Let's look at this article first. Making good on a promise to slash government, President-elect Trump has asked his incoming team to pursue both spending and staffing cuts. Okay? Now look at this. Insiders said that spending reductions in some departments could go as high as 10%, and staff cuts could go as high as 20%. Numbers that would rock Washington if he follows through. These are landing teams. Basically, cabinet agencies relayed the call for cuts as part of their marching orders to shrink the flab in government. And certainly we don't know what will happen exactly. I do believe overall that, as far as I'm concerned, all governments around the world, from the local levels all the way up to the federal levels, need to be slashed. And I don't think these numbers are good enough, but anything will do. You know, you turn back to pages of history and you see times, for example, the Depression of 1920. In that time, something that I actually talk about in the Money GPS, they slashed government spending by, I believe it was 60%. And within a year and a half, everything is back to normal again and booming, and then you have the roaring 20s. What has changed? Well, of course, what has changed is the fact that the Federal Reserve, see, they didn't act in 1920. But after that, they have acted ever since. And there's government intervention. And that's what has been the biggest problem for all of these cycles, which should be much shorter, which should be much softer. Instead, they are all exaggerated on the way up and the way down. And what I will note from this is that any amount of government reductions is good. I do believe that's good. I hope that it's even further than 10% and 20% that they're suggesting here. That could be. But I would be happy with any percentage, because we always see an expansion every single year over year over year. Turkey, obviously very interesting recently with what's been happening. The currency has been devalued drastically as of late. Turkey's central bank will not hesitate to take any necessary policy steps. That's according to the Prime Minister. I found that to be pretty much word for word of a quote of what we hear out of the ECB, what we hear out of the Federal Reserve, the Bank of Japan, and so on. They're all talking the same, suggesting that you don't have to worry about us. Our money is certainly valid. It's good. Don't worry. Don't panic. We'll print as much of it as necessary. So, the Prime Minister of Turkey, he doesn't want higher interest rates. He wants to keep those interest rates low, just like those in the West, to keep business booming, not worried about inflation, believing it's temporary, and believing that it is not a good way, essentially, to keep the inflation down that is there. But it doesn't seem to be a very realistic suggestion, because over time, in a short order, in fact, that will cripple people. And that has been the case in other countries as well. The lira has fallen as much as 10% so far, adding to a double-digit slide last year. So you're looking at a very, very rapid decline in the value. And people from Turkey, there are subscribers who have contacted me, and just from the articles that I've read, The people are feeling it immediately. It is immediately felt. It's not something that you will feel 5-10 years down the road, or something that, oh, my children are going to have to suffer because of these actions. No, it is felt right away. And that is not a good thing, because when people start to suffer, when they become more, the poverty is forced upon them, even if it's just to a lesser degree, it still hurts. And that ends up resulting in some negative consequences. If it gets too far, look at Athens. What happened? Athens was under fire. Rome was under fire. London even. And you see major cities like this erupt into flames because of, there's different reasons, but the whole point, I've tried to make this in previous videos, and there's a lot of people who they take it out of context, they don't get it. It's fine, it doesn't matter to me. What we look at is, for any reason, there is upheaval. And that upheaval, you could get locked up in it. You can get trapped in that. That's the whole point. It doesn't matter what you are doing, and I'm not going to get involved in that and this and that. It happens. People get stuck in the mess, and that is truly unfortunate. That's all I'm trying to say. Look at this. I did a whole video about this. I don't know what they're planning on doing about this in the future. I have a feeling that they will try to implement it. The radical notion that government should hand out free money to everyone, rich and poor, those who work and those who don't, is slowly but surely gaining ground in Europe, but of course not just Europe. Yes, you read that right. A guaranteed monthly living allowance, no strings attached. What they're talking about is right here, in this case, out of France, but limited scenario happening in Finland. They are talks about it in the US. Canada had a little experiment with this. They call it either universal income, universal basic income, or basic income. And basically what that means is you get a paycheck, you and everyone else, in fact, get a paycheck. Doesn't matter if you work or if you don't, they just give you a paycheck. And isn't that very nice? That seems like a great idea. A lot of people would benefit from that, no doubt. Free money, what's to lose? Well, of course, we know what happens when you give people something for free. It's squandered. That's right. It's not smart decisions that are made. It's always a bad decision. Now, I'm not saying that people can't take advantage of that and use it to a positive way. I'm just looking at it as a lot of people are probably going to take advantage of it, do it in the wrong way. I don't think that this is a good method. Now, for example, you were going to give people, in the case of Switzerland, they voted on, and it was voted down, $2,500 per month. And I mean, I know Switzerland's an expensive place and everything, but it's still a significant number. Anyway, you're looking at this, think about it, $2,500 a month. Now, why not offer people tax rebates? I'm not even suggesting that this should be done, but it would be a better use of the money to offer people tax rebates for things like this. If everybody puts solar panels on their roofs, we will give you all of your money back. You have to arrange with the people to come to put it in your house. It has to be certified and this and that. And you put those solar panels on your roof enough to, basically power the whole home, which, isn't that much. The government will give you that money back over 1 year, 2 year, 5 year period, whatever. Or if you have a water catchment system, so suddenly you're not a burden on the power grid, on the water systems, sewer systems, everything else, you're suddenly becoming self-sufficient. Wouldn't this, and you see where I'm going with that, wouldn't this be a better use of the money than to simply hand people a paycheck and say, have fun? I mean, it's all about the decisions that they make, and it's very silly. I think they're wrong. I'm not saying that there should be, fully planned economy and everything else. I'm just giving a suggestion, and I'm interested to hear, isn't something like that a better use? I'm not saying that they should do it. Let me make that statement once again. I'm not saying they should do it, but isn't that a better use of money instead of just simply handing people a paycheck? Tax rebates on things, and I'm talking about whole 100% tax rebates on something that actually benefits everybody and the individual, so they end up paying less back to them and sort of have this vicious circle of taxation. But we all know the truth. We all know why they do this. They make us impoverished intentionally. Okay, no more ranting. Let's get back on with this. UK Prime Minister Theresa May will this week signal plans for a hard Brexit, saying she was willing to quit the European Union's single market for goods and services to regain control of Britain's borders and laws. We'll see if this actually goes ahead. Nothing of the Brexit has actually taken effect. We need to see them sign it and make it happen and actually engage the article, actually go ahead with it. Let's see how it all goes. I'm excited to see what happens with the Brexit, and I do believe that others should follow. We are seeing areas like Catalonia, Spain, they want to separate. When I was there recently, I saw so many different, or not different, but so many other flags hanging in their windows in an effort to basically show their independence, and they want that, and it is something that I saw with my very own eyes, and it is very exciting to see that. I do believe so. And this, always loving the coverage of the robotics and automation. Here you see downtown Las Vegas, autonomous vehicle. The oval-shaped shuttle that carries 12 people began a 10-day free pilot program along the Fremont Street in the downtown entertainment district. So there it is, a driverless shuttle in Las Vegas. People are on it. Everything seemed to be okay as far as I'm aware. And it's coming faster than where we are predicting, where it was predicted. Sure, this individual scenario is very similar to one I covered not that long ago at, I believe it was an airport, where it would drive the same route all the time. So it's very simple. If something comes in the way, sensors will pick it up, it'll stop, and this and that. But it's just getting more complex and more complex. If you have seen them for yourself in your city, you know, Uber's having these autonomous vehicles. Individuals are actually in the car still, but it's learning. It's starting to learn the roads and everything like this. And, you know, I gotta say, it's catching up very quickly, and it's going to take us by surprise. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. Last but not least, if you found the video informative, I know you'll find my book, The Money GPS, even more informative. I've taken this complicated subject of finance and I've made it very simple by using the charts as well as diagrams that I drew up for this book that will make it very easy. So you can actually look through the book. If you go over to Amazon, where they have a look inside feature that will allow you to flip through the pages of the book and see if you like it. Take care.